Now it's time for TIPisodes with quick tips you should know. Techniques you can implement into your workflow right here on A Tale, oh yeah, A Tale of Two Hygienists.
All right, so we are going to do a little impromptu, what do we call this one? Maybe we'll call this one like a TIPisode. Like we'll discover together about being an introvert and how to still be successful maybe practicing as an introvert.
Yes.
That sound good? And your name is Jaymie?
Jaymie.
Jaymie, will you introduce yourself to the audience and like where are you from, how long you've been practicing, things like that?
My name's Jaymie. I'm a registered dental hygienist. I also have my alternative practice license. In California, we can have a separate license that allows us to kind of practice and a mobile situation on medically compromised patients. So I did run that business for a little bit of time, for about 8 years or so. I have since given up my patients to focus on just private practice.
Sure.
And speaking, teaching, podcasting, social media, just kind of focus on that particular aspect of my business.
And you said you're an introvert.
I
Hold
am.
on. How is this
I am.
working? No, okay. Because this is the thing, right? Like people look at you, you're doing all of these things, and like there's no way she's an introvert. But you feel like you still are.
Yes. And that's actually,
Okay,
I mean,
let's
so,
explain this.
okay, so I felt that the same way. So like podcasting and all of this stuff absolutely terrifies me. Even though I'm just doing it one-on-one like this,
Yeah.
it's terrifying for me. And when I see other speakers get up, I say, oh, I really want to do that. But I don't know if it's just the perfectionist in me, and I don't want to be called out. It's a lot easier to talk to patients and people.
This is my TIPisode that I'm writing right now. No, it's about perfectionism. It's about oh my gosh, we're on the same page.
Yes.
Okay, so we're going to dig deep a little bit into you, if that's okay.
Okay.
And just look,
Are you sure?
I don't know where this is going to go, but we'll see. So my thought is, have you always been introvert? Like think back to like high school, think back to like middle school. Have you always been that introverted person, or is this something that maybe has been a product of our environment in dentistry?
I think it's a little bit of both. Just in terms of going back to the whole being a perfectionist, if I'm going to speak or if I'm going to talk just in high school, say give a presentation, it's like this whole impromptu thing is terrifying for me. I like to be thank you. I like to be very prepared. I'm very structured.
Sure.
If I write a speech, I basically have it memorized. In that capacity, I do decently. I mean, my whole body is still shaking like I'm having a teeny tiny seizure inside of me up there, but nobody else can see, I guess, apparently. Yeah. But no, it does. It also, I think with dentistry, like I said, it's a little bit different when I'm talking to a group of peers, other hygienists, doctors, they can call you out.
They can, and they will.
And they will.
or they won't see your face, but on social media later on they'll say it, or they'll tell their friends, or these things. Yeah.
But like patients, it's like, oh my gosh, you totally know what you're talking about. No one's ever explained anything to, and I'm like,
so you feel much better in the operatory. Like you one-on-one with your patient, you don't feel that same kind of introversion.
No.
Bizarre, right?
Yeah, it is. But that's because like I've done it. I've studied it. I've been a hygienist for over 16 years. I've been in dentistry for 23. Like I know what I'm doing. I know what I'm talking about. Yeah, exactly. But when I'm up, like, you're in a really vulnerable situation when you're on stage in front of a bunch of people. You've got all these eyes looking at you. You don't know if they think you're amazing or just like, laughing in their head thinking she has no idea what she's talking about.
Gosh, can it be everything though? It can be all of the things.
Yeah.
So what do you lecture on? What do you speak on? Or what do you want to speak on?
I don't, which is this is one of the things that I'm actually interested in doing. I feel I need to narrow down what I want to talk about.
Okay.
Right now, the big thing is just the oral systemic link, but not just the link, like actually diving a little bit more into it to have patients understand that it's not just connected. It's not just related, but how is it related? How is the bacteria related? Where are we finding the bacteria elsewhere in our body? How does that, affect all of the other systems and stuff? So I would like to talk about that. And then honestly, I kind of want to address a lot of questions that seem very simple to us hygienists, but just as a target audience or patients being a target audience rather, and asking some like very basic, simple questions like, does it matter if I floss before I brush or vice versa? What's the best way? Do I use mouthwash before or after I brush?
Yeah. Should
I use fluoride? Do I use stannous fluoride? Do I use sodium fluoride? What do I use? Do I use Prevident? Do I use potassium nitrate? All these different things. So water pick versus regular floss, hydrofloss versus water pick, all these different things. So
how are you going to narrow this down? Because that's a lot
of
things.
See, right? I know.
And they're all fantastic. And I think that they can all tie together.
Yeah.
So let's ask this. How are you networking to find, is there already a speaker or a person that you can either collaborate with or make sure that that's not a saturated market? What are you doing for that?
Currently, I'm not
Okay,
doing anything, which is honestly one of the reasons why just got wind of this conference and I'm here. Yeah, just to kind of start the new year and see how all this is done. What do all these people talk about? What podcasts are already out there? Yeah, who is doing the
Are
things?
you thinking podcasting is something that you'd like to jump into?
Eventually, I think I'll start with the social media aspect of things. That's kind of where I'd like to start, but then kind of, get my feet wet in podcasting a little bit too, and then eventually, if I get brave enough to do my own. But no, kind of like just a this versus that. That's kind of what I want to focus on in terms of my niche. Just whether it's for, specifically for a podcast or for social media.
Like
but
this
there's
versus
that's
that. Okay, everyone, you heard it here. You can't steal her idea.
Yeah, don't steal
like
it. Don't steal it.
Okay.
Can we incorporate that?
No, that'd be really good. I think that's I don't know everything there is to know about the podcasting world, but I feel like I haven't heard that yet. I like that idea.
Yeah.
It's clever.
Thank you.
Okay, let's talk about introversion again, though.
Oh, gosh.
Because you're going to have to overcome some of that. If you're doing, let's say you're writing an article or you're writing a blog, do you think about the audience at all that's out there, or does that kind of not even really come into your brain?
I think a little bit too much about the audience, which is why I get nervous.
How are we going to overcome that?
I'm not sure. Can I flip it around and ask you how you...
I don't know. I'm an introvert. I don't overcome them.
You do not seem like an introvert.
Right?
You totally don't.
What is that one saying? Like, you're standing on the shoulders of giants, right? So all the people that have come before us. So podcasting. We'll take podcasting. I listened to podcasts. I wanted to start a podcast from the moment I heard this one very specific podcast. I'm like, I could do that. I would love to do it in dentistry. But it took Alan Mead to be the person that was like, okay, this is how you do all of those things.
So you don't get up and speak then or anything like that, right? Or do you now? Have you overcome it?
I mean, yeah, I've lectured. I don't love it. I think if the topic is something that I'm like really passionate about, I'll be happy to do it. So charitable dentistry, that's what I used to speak on all the time. Restorative hygiene, stuff like that. Like things that I really, really know really well, I will. But I don't want to be a speaker. That is not a desire that I have of mine. I like being, again, behind the microphone that no one even knows who I am. Like this is the best way of anonymity. But we have, a branded a tale to a hygienist. Like people know this, they don't know me, and I love that.
Really?
Oh, I love it. Yeah.
Oh.
So I mean, I don't know. That's probably really bad advice for somebody else to be like, hey, but build your brand and let the brand be the thing that's out in front of everybody, and then you're the person that's contributing to the brand.
Well, but then eventually people do maybe know you, and then that maybe could build your confidence because they actually do know your face, even though you don't think they do.
Maybe.
No?
I've been doing this for 7 years, and so I don't know if that ever. And maybe I'm just really, introverted and insecure. I don't really know. Anyway, so terrible advice for everybody, I think. But how do other people do it? Let's see. That fake it till you make it, right? That's something that people say quite a bit. Just get out there and do it. You'll overcome it.
And just start. Yeah.
Yeah. Dang, this is like one of the worst probably TIPisodes for anybody about like how to overcome like introversion by two introverts.
Right,
so,
right. And just hiding behind people, which I guess is the advice we're giving everybody. No,
I think
I'm kidding.
so. I mean, essentially that's what it boiled down to. Okay, so let's talk about you a little bit more though. So what are your next steps? What are you going to do to get out there? You're going to start like get a domain and have a website and you talk about social media.
Right. Yeah. So that actually is kind of going to be my focus in 2023 is just really trying to build my social media presence, trying to talk about things that are not just important for other clinicians or other providers to hear, but that is also appealing to patients. Mm-hmm. And again, like I said, the this versus that situation, I feel like I'm talking in the operatory all day long about that kind of stuff. And I always think when I'm speaking about it or talking to a patient about it, I always think, gosh, I feel like so many other people would be asking these questions. And again, even though sometimes they seem very basic to us, and when I talk about it, a lot of people just say, oh my gosh, no one's ever talked to me about that before. No one's ever explained it that way before. That makes so much sense, which again is one of the driving momotivators as being a hygienist is creating a sense of urgency and not just telling somebody you have all this stuff wrong with you, but
good luck.
Yeah. And go home and have fun. Here's a water pick. Hopefully you use it. But no, like how do you use it? Why do you need to use it? Why is that important? How does that affect the rest of your body, your systems, your organs, all of those things? And getting people kind of excited about hygiene, just like people are excited about fitness sometimes or being healthy or different things. But actually trying to, I guess, put myself out there and try to have people, I would like to say things that resonate with others that get them excited about their oral health, really.
Yeah. Well, I'll tell you what, anytime you want to do some TIPisodes, let me know. If you want to do a quick little this versus that, in a couple months or whatever,
I like that.
reach out to me and we'll get it out there.
All right, sweet.
Thank you for being on. Appreciate this.
Thank you, Andrew.
A tale of two hygienics.